Hey, it's Dave Calafiore along with Drew Griffin, and welcome to this asset-based agency. We'll call it a jam session, I guess. But today, we wanted to kind of dig into what the heck an asset-based agency is and talk about kind of the origin story of how we started to figure all of this stuff out over time. Because I think it's pretty interesting, and it kind of like lays out our pathway to how we got to where we are now. And really, we'll do a good job in explaining what an asset based agency is and what the benefits are for you as agency owners to consider building assets that you use to grow your digital agency. So, Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to jam on this. Right, it's been a while since we really kind of talked about origin stories and talking about, you know, why the asset based agency approach has been, a remarkable change for us and for many agencies out there who kind of recognized what we were doing. We brought it to their attention, and we hear countless stories now of people that are having success.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well,
yeah, let's kind of break it
should
down a
we
little bit.
should we enter the time machine here and kind of go back in time a number of years and kind of just start from the beginning?
Yeah, I think that's both equally exciting as well as scary to kind of think about where things were. And I think the exciting part about this is that we have come quite a distance. We have come uh, quite a way from where things were. And truthfully, when you look back at when we started our agencies and, we kind of combined and joined forces and launched our own local marketing agency, it was scary, right? I mean, it was equally exciting, right? It was like, okay, this is really cool. I'm going to pursue this thing. Like, you must be crazy to go out there and do it on your own, right? Particularly, you had a very successful career. You had an agency that was thriving quite well in Connecticut at that time, I think it was, and then you moved to Pittsburgh, and I was in healthcare for the longest time, 28 years in healthcare, and then kind of stumbling across the whole internet marketing and agency, local marketing agency stuff. It seems like an eon ago, and
Yeah.
how misguided we may have we may really have been way back when.
Yeah, well, it kinda goes back to when Drew and I moved to Pittsburgh, and I had a history of, running my family's small local business, and kind of that ended, and I learned a lot about digital marketing from having to dive in myself and learn all of this to help my family's business initially, and really, like, caught an interest in all of this stuff that I think we all really enjoy and kinda geek out on. And I had a lot of connections, business connections, where when I used to live in Connecticut, it's kind of where I grew up and where all my family is. I had a lot of friends, and it wasn't diff- particularly hard to get started in helping other businesses with their marketing. Right,
Mhm.
had a lot of family connections, and they had friends, and all I really had to do was kind of talk to people, and I had appointments, and started to bring on clients, and really over time grew a pretty thriving agency. um, but um, had an opportunity, or had the opportunity, or had the opportunity to move and start over with my wife. She's a physician, and she finished her medical residency and wanted to move back, to the Pittsburgh area where she was from. So I agreed, and, left everything I had in Connecticut with my agency and my family and all that stuff, and ventured to a new place where I didn't know anybody, didn't have any family, didn't have any connections, didn't know any other business owners. And man, it was difficult, Drew. You know, I really took for granted all of the connections and friendships that I had, which really made starting my agency in Connecticut initially rather easy. It was difficult when you don't know anybody, when you don't have that when you don't have any connections, friends in a new area. It can be really difficult. And that's when you and I connected. I think, initially, and we started working together. I was just looking for somebody to work with because I was kind of lonely doing this and thought having somebody to work with would be great. And it absolutely was, but we still struggled. It was a struggle to just get meetings, get people to pay attention to you, make all those new connections. And it got really scary because I was kind of floundering a bit, right? So you and I started looking for better ways to get people's attention, to get the attention of a business owner. So they would pick up our phone calls when we called them, or if we walked into their business, maybe they would spend a few minutes to even talk to us, or agree to, book an appointment. So I might be able to, find out there's ways we could help them with their marketing. And we struggled for a while and started just throwing shit at the wall. If there's anything that Drew and I are good at, it's just trying, like, just, until something works.
Yeah.
Don't give up, and we will continue to just try new things over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we were doing that. And, some things were kind of working, some things did not work. You feel discouraged, but you just got to keep pushing forward. And finally, we came upon kind of a strategy that really kind of we noticed like was incredible, and really helped us connect with business owners in the markets where we lived and open conversations. Like that's the biggest part sometimes. It's just getting somebody to talk to you. Like it's really
Yeah.
hard. There's a lot of noise. Business people are busy running their businesses, and they don't know who I am or what I do and how I could help them. And sometimes it's just hard to get their attention, right? So what we kind of figured out was, if all businesses really want is just more attention, whether it's, people talking about them on social media or having more visibility. Like every small business owner sinks their heart and their soul into their business, and all they want is more attention. They want more people to know about them. They want the phone to ring more. They want more people walking through their front door so the cash register rings. We all know that, right? Um, so what we figured out is we found a way to kind of deliver that to small business owners in a really simple, easy way. And we found that when we did that, these business owners opened up to us. We became friends with them. And once that happens and they knew who we were, and we delivered something to them that we already knew that they wanted, more attention for their business, we made friends and it created a sense of trust. And once you do that, it becomes super, super easy to have conversations about other ways that we could help them. So, what we started doing is creating these local Facebook pages. Really simple, like nothing complex. Created a local Facebook page where the content was based around what was happening in the community. We would simply just post links to news stories that, regular media outlets, um, news that they were creating, just post links to it. We would post information about the school system, local sports, local events that were happening. Keep in mind, we're not creating any unique content. We were just kind of aggregating and curating information about the local area. And we started doing that and heavily experimenting with ways to grow the audience on these pages. Spent a lot of money, time, and effort on different types of strategies, ads, organic. And over time, we figured it out. We figured out how we could take one of these local pages, create it in about 5 minutes. We figured out the exact strategy for the paid ad that would help us rapidly just go from creating one of these pages to having like 2 to 5 to 10,000 people following it in a very, very short period of time, right? So once we figured that piece out, the light bulb went off in our heads. Like we're like, this is it. This is interesting. Now we own this thing, this machine, this hardest local attention. We didn't really own it because Facebook kind of owned it, but you get it. We controlled, the page, and we could decide what we posted on it and all those things. And the light bulb went off in our head. And after that, nothing has ever been the same. But we figured out that we could just simply arbitrage that harnessed local attention that we had built up on these really simple local Facebook pages and offer it as kind of a foot in the door or a conversation opener for businesses that we wanted to work with. And man, Drew, once that light bulb went off and we started to figure this out, things were never the same again.
No, no, they weren't. And I think the exciting piece about this that really resonates quite well is when um, you look at the traditional agency approach, and all of the negative things that come along with it seem to be less of that when we started to do this, right? So like when you call upon a business or you go into a business, you have a hard time getting through the front door, the gatekeeper. And when you do, and you finally do, and you're starting to work with the client, maybe you're even hired, as that agency to work with the client, you still have to face all of the other competition, right? That are coming through the door. Sometimes while you're sitting right there working with a client on a campaign or something, and they just,
Hmm.
they interrupt you and they just like, I'm here to, sell you my stuff. And you've got this contrast compare to where we are right now, where that's no longer, much of a concern at all. Right. The
Yeah.
fear, the rejection, the trepidation of contacting a local business, it hits a little bit differently when, you control the asset, right? And they want you become the hunted versus, the hunter, right? Like you're not out there knocking on the doors. You still are, but it hits a little bit differently when you're approaching them um, from an asset, right? When you are the um, you know th- the local thing that everybody knows and is aware of, that you've got all the attention, all the authority, all the recognition, all the credibility, the celebrity, the trust, all that kind of stuff. When you command all that, it hits a little bit differently, and
Yeah.
it hasn't been the same ever since.
True game changer. So let's talk about that compare and contrast. So I know there might be some people watching here live, and if you've experienced this, let us know. You walk into a business or call a business or maybe even meet a business owner at a networking meeting, and you introduce yourself, and let's just use the example of like walking into a business, and you say, hey, who's the person who I can talk to about your digital marketing or your social media marketing or whatever it is, right? You know what happens like 99% of the time, and it's the reason why most people stop prospecting. They stop reaching out to businesses is because of the rejection. Like, you have to have a really thick skin to kind of keep at that consistently when you're basically always getting shut down. I mean, some people do it in nicer ways than others. Some people will just flat out lie to you and, say, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Let me call you back." And you're like, you know how it goes. Like you can only do that for so long. And we went through that, and that's the reason why we were looking for better ways to make those connections and start the conversations. So you walk into a business that way, and you introduce yourself from your marketing agency, and you know, oh, yep, the owner's not here right now. Can you leave your stuff? You know what that means? Um, yeah, the owner's, daughter's boyfriend does all our marketing for us. Yeah, we don't need any of that right now, or just leave your stuff. All those excuses compared to once we had the harnessed local attention, like little like 5 or 10,000 people in a small community who liked and followed our community page. We could walk into a business and just introduce ourselves, not from our marketing agency. Hey, my name's Dave Calafiore. I run Pottstown Local Scoop. We've got 10,000 people who follow our Facebook and Instagram properties. And I'll tell you, I was in here last week and had dinner, and we just love the food. And I would love to tell the community more about what you've got going on here. is the owner happen to be here so I could set something up like an interview, or maybe we can write a story about you and post it in, on our page that 10,000 people follow?" And you just shut up. And you know what they do? They go get the person that you need to talk to get that done. Maybe it's them, maybe it's not. They go get that person, but
Yeah.
that is a difference maker. Now, we're going to do a quick little, we'll do a quick little article on them and with some pictures and whatnot and post it on our page. Maybe we even take a, $20 in ad spend and put it behind it so even more people in the local community see that story. And now we've got a friend. We've got a friend. And when a friend comes back in to see you after you've done something nice from them, like expose them to thousands of consumers in the community, they're going to take your phone call or agree to sit down and have a cup of coffee with you to find out if there's more ways that you can get them, more visibility in the local community. It's a game changer, man.
Complete game changer. And I think that's where, particularly lots of people that are starting their own agencies or even have existing agencies that experience that. They experience the pushback, obviously, the economy and all kinds of different things that are happening in the world. Um, Whatever, right? They're busy and they're struggling. They're trying to figure out themselves to how to get more customers, how to get more clients, how to get more patrons to come into their business. And they just have a very small amount of time to deal with the day to day that typically happens, when you've got, solicitors and people calling and people emailing and DM and stuff like that. And it's pretty much the same type of pitch, just a different business versus something like this where you're leading with value in advance. And whether they choose to do business with you or not do business with you, you're still winning because you get content for your Facebook page, which, just begets more people following and more people that are interested because, there's local people that like to go to those restaurants, that like to go to those businesses, and they appreciate it. They appreciate that the content, the effort that was put out. And let's be frank, who doesn't like people bragging on you? When they say nice things about you, there's a certain level of endorphins. There's psychology that's happening there, right? The universal law of reciprocation digs in. For those of you that don't know what that is, go ahead and look it up. But basically, they feel indebted to you, whether it's small or large or whatever. And to what you just mentioned, David, like the next time you call upon them, they're going to know exactly who you are, right? Particularly if you do some of the steps that we're talking about, where you're tagging them in the Facebook post, or you're letting them know that the article or the feature or the video that you just did is out there, right? And particularly when you're putting $20 or $50 or $100 behind a video or an article, you're going to get a lot more reach. You're going to get a lot
Yeah.
more people being aware of that, and it's really hard for them not to appreciate that. So
Big
you led
difference.
with that results in advance, really.
Yeah. And like, now I mean, I'm sure all of you have, you're putting like prospecting lists together and you got a list of businesses and you're looking at them like, these are perfect businesses for me to work with. Like, they need more reviews, or their website's horrible. And I know I can help them create a beautiful website so they look more professional. And we all put these prospecting lists together. And, we used to, when we had those lists, always have trouble, like just even getting the business owner to take advantage, or to reach out to us or to listen to us.
Yeah.
And now when we put those prospecting lists together and there's a business that like, this is a perfect fit for us. I would love to. They have great products and services, all those things. Um, Now we just use our strategy here. Like, here's the business. I want to work with them. I can walk through the front door and offer them the exposure to tens of thousands of people. And I know I'm at least going to get that conversation. I'm going to make a friend there, compared to just basically always getting shut down or having to come up with kind of slimy tactics and strategies to kind of get someone to reply to my email or nope, we just walk right through the front door, introduce myself, not as a, local as a local business owner also, but not as a digital marketing agency owner. Can I speak to the person who handles your marketing? Nope. Hey, I'm Dave Calafiore on Pottstown Local Scoop. We've got 10,000 people who follow us locally, and I love what you're doing here. Can we do would it be cool? Would it make sense if we did, a little feature story on your business? I would love to tell more people about your business in the community. If anybody ever says no to that, or they're not interested in that, it's the biggest red flag in the world. This is not a business that you'd want to work with. Turn around and run as fast as you can and go to their competitor. I mean, so once we figured this out and it started working, we started with one of these sites and then we built another one and another one, and another one, and another, and another, and another. I don't even know how many we have now, but we got lots of them and lots of territory claimed. Um, we no longer ever have an issue getting on the radar or getting a business that we want to work with to have a conversation with us. They can't refuse. We've made it so they cannot pay attention. They can't not pay attention to us.
Yeah, and with that, as you mentioned, like, the word interview, it truly is an interview, right? It's an opportunity for you to determine whether or not you want to actually work with that client in the future, right? So you're winning, they're winning, right? Just simply from the top level, interview, the actual interview process and the content that you're putting together and putting out there. But it's also an idea about whether or not these businesses are actually cool to work with, right? I don't know, maybe you choose to work with everybody and anyone, or you want to have a roster full of really cool clients that you will do anything to help them win, right? Versus somebody who is probably it doesn't have the best business ethics, probably doesn't take care of their business or their employees or even their customers and clients, right? Why would you want to fuel the flame of a business that doesn't seem to be doing quite well, either for themselves or for their clients? And quite frankly, when you throw more attention on that, it makes the problem that much worse. So what a cool position to be in, right? When you now don't have the fear, the trepidation, or the issue or the concern of connecting with the business at all, right? Once you're out of that situation where you now command that attention, the awareness and all that kind of stuff, that you could literally decide to grow your business that week by a factor of however many businesses that you want to connect
Yep.
with.
So, here's the thinking of what an asset-based agency is. Um, yeah, if you're in this community, I would imagine we've all spent a lot of time, effort, money in developing these skills that we have as digital marketers. Whether just tinkering, figuring stuff out, educating yourself with online courses and trainings, just spending a lot of time, money, and effort to develop these skills. Now, most times we're using these skills to help other people grow their businesses, which we all love doing. Drew and I still love doing that, right? But if you kind of flip your mindset a little bit, right? What if you were to use these skills that you have, that you've developed, that you've taken a lot of time, money, and effort to develop, to actually build and grow digital assets that you own and control, that you can then use and sell and arbitrage the attention built up around those assets to then help local business owners, right? So these community pages are was the beginning for us. We've kind of obviously advanced. We still love the community pages. They still work. We still use them, but we've advanced past them to other types of assets that, we're using our skills as digital marketers to build and grow these assets. And now we're not dependent on a business over here and a business over there to work with us for us to, generate income for our agency. We now have the businesses chasing us because they want access to these things that we own, and the things that we own is attention, harnessed local attention, right? So we've kind of become media companies, a media company in a sense, and a lot of other people in the community have here also. Those
Hmm.
who are building the local media hero pages, those who are building, community newsletters and things like that, and other assets that we talk and teach about. Once you own these things, businesses actually start chasing you compared to you having to chase them. And that's like the big flip that you can make in your mind. And once that happens, there's no going back. And I'm telling you, there's change is coming with AI advancing as rapidly as it is. There's going to be a point in time where these local businesses don't need you to do marketing for them anymore. Um, it's just coming. It's happening already. I think maybe some people are in denial or not paying attention to what's happening. But if you don't change, your agency will no longer exist probably in 5 years from now.
Scary.
Software and artificial intelligence is going to kill the digital marketing agencies. It's happening. It's happening already, right? So, our best recommendation for you is to use your skill set that you've spent a lot of time, money, and effort to develop to start building things that you own and control and then can sell access to. If you we love helping local businesses, so we build these local attention engines, the community pages, newsletters, other assets also that these local businesses want access to. So we're still helping local businesses with marketing initiatives and visibility and all those things, but we own the assets now. We are the local Mark Zuckerbergs, right? When you have a local newsletter with 10 or 15,000 subscribers, and with the push of a button, you can deliver whatever messaging or content you can into thousands of people's inbox every morning. You yield a lot of power.
Yeah, it's the power is staggering. If you step back and just consider the power of a local market, right? When you already control the eyeballs and the ears and the minds of a local audience, like what other kind of marketing do you need to do when you already command the attention of the customers and the clients that local businesses want to attract? What other type of marketing do you really need to do? Do you need to duplicate it? Do you need to replicate it? No, you already control it. So, David, when we're working with our clients now, the frightening thing that you mentioned a little bit earlier is they recognize it too. They recognize that this emerging technology of artificial intelligence and all this other kind of stuff is going to replace. It's going to replace a lot of the consultants and the agencies and the website design and development types of outlets, right? And they already know it, right? They're asking us, how can they do it faster? How can they do it faster? How can they do it better? How can they take that responsibility off of their books and have it automated? They're already asking it. They're already asking it. And, here many of us are trying to, permeate and penetrate, the veil of connecting with a customer and client. We figured it out. We figured it out. We figured out the way that allows you to make friends and connections with all the businesses that you need and want.
Yeah. And what we've also figured out is building these assets is a far better way to help these businesses with their marketing than, let's just face it, I'm going to be brutally honest here. Um, all of these services, these agency services that most of us are so used to offering, web design, SEO, social media posting, reputation marketing. They are all commodities. And I truly believe in the next 5 to 10 years will not be necessary for any local, small, medium sized business to have to purchase these services from a local agency. It's
Yep.
going away. Like, you know what I mean? So, by accident, from just trying to find a better way to open the door for us to work with local businesses and offer those traditional marketing services, we figured out that the better way to work with these businesses and get them more visibility is to build these assets that we own and control and arbitrage the attention built up around them. It's so simple too. And that's the one of the beautiful things in it is businesses just understand attention in advertising. You don't doesn't take a lot to get them to wrap their head around that. It's something they've been doing for eons and they're still doing it. It's the reason why there are still television stations and newspapers and radio stations and magazines. It's because businesses just understand it. Compare and contrast selling an ad in a newsletter or a newspaper or radio where a business just gets it like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give you money and then you're going to talk about my thing in front of thousands of people. I get that. No big concepts. It's easy to understand. And businesses want to buy that.
Yep.
Compared to, um, yeah, we're going to do some SEO for you. We can't make any guarantees about results or whether it would actually help your business, but it'll probably take, a minimum of 6 months to a year. And then if everything goes right, you'll pay us, $2,000 a month for the next year. And hopefully, we can get you some, page ranking results on the first page of Google.
It's
I
a
get
risk and
it.
a gamble.
It's
Yep.
a beneficial service. SEO does work, but I hate having those conversations. I'd be like, hey, I've got 10,000 people right here. You hand me $500. I'll put your offer and talk about your business in front of those 10,000 people. Done.
Done. Yep. It's a remarkable business model.
Yeah. Yep. So someone's asking, do you guys offer a course? So inside of the asset-based community in the classroom tab, there's a course called the Local Media Hero. That course is free for all of you. It's just sitting in there. It's pure gold. It's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you if you actually go through it and implement what we teach in there. But that will teach you how to build those community pages that we were talking about when we started this conversation. Step by step. Everything that we know about it, that we've been doing, we're still doing it the exact same way. It's called Local Media Hero. I think it unlocks it when you reach level 2 in the community. And level 2 just means you need to add some value to the community, make a couple posts, reply to some other people's posts, things like that. And that will unlock for you. And that teaches you that exact strategy. And that's a great starting point for anybody who's really interested in building these assets. It's not difficult to do. It's not expensive. It just takes, the decision to implement and actually stay consistent with it. And it's right inside the classroom tab inside of the school community.
Yeah, it's a great question. And there you go. Yeah, it's truly worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you can get it for just participating a little bit inside the school group. Leave some comments on others' posts, add some posts of your own, something that you found out that maybe you discovered or an observation, something along those lines. It's a great way to gain access to um, an amazing course to you know leave your mark and be able to start working a little bit more frictionlessly with local
Mhm.
businesses.
Sam is asking any suggestions as to how to create the content for a local newsletter or a directory. So the content already exists. There's, traditional media companies who are creating the content every day. Just take a look around your community and look at what people are interested in: news, events, local politics, school system. The news is all around you. The service that you're really offering is a service of convenience. You're curating and aggregating all of that information and news and content into a singular place where people can consume it. It exists already, but it's all over the place. It's a pain in the ass to have to go hunt around for stuff, right? So if you can curate all that information that already exists, that's being created on a daily basis into a singular place where people can easily consume it, there you go. So you don't actually have to create the content. You just need to aggregate and curate it into a place where people can consume it in an easy way. And if you're creating a newsletter or directory, I would hold off on the directory until you have a newsletter with a good amount of subscribers, because a directory, as good of an idea it is almost useless unless it has a steady flow of traffic. It doesn't serve anybody.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Directories, they have their good use, but getting into the inbox, I mean, just imagine if you had a directory that you were able to deliver into the inbox of 10, 15, 20,000 people every day. Would you, or you're no longer dependent upon them having to come to you?
Let's give a great example of our friend Sherry Sanderson, who's currently running a local newsletter in Tennessee. Is she probably up around 15? I don't even know what she's up to. We'll say she's
Yeah.
between 10 to 15,000 subscribers.
I just checked in with her. She's just shy of 15,000 people.
Yeah. So Sherry is, you know, sending her newsletter out 5 to 7 days a week. I'm not sure what her exact schedule is, but she's landing in the inbox of nearly 15,000 people each and every morning.
Let's
Do
let's
you
let's
think?
let's step back
Yeah.
for a second, David. And these numbers are very easy to spout out, but do you know how many people 15,000 people are? I know there's a number, it's 15,000 people, but contextually, right? Here in the Philadelphia area, the soccer stadium that's in Chester, PA holds 18,000 people. 18,000 people in a stadium watching a soccer game. That's basically the size of her newsletter. Like all those people. Now, if you're hosting a birthday party or some type of barbecue or something, imagine inviting 100 people to your house. That's a lot of people. 100 people is a lot of people, right? That's like the size of a small wedding. 100 people in a room. Now, pan out a little bit to 15,000 people. That's no small feat, right? Sending an email newsletter to 100 people, to 500 people, to 1,000 people, but 15,000 people, that's an incredible amount of people that you're reaching.
Yeah.
That's the power behind something like that.
Now, it's the same strategy, using that as a tool to connect with a business or just get on their radar. You can literally walk into any business in her, local area and just introduce herself. Hey, I'm Sherry from, Knoxville local. I forget what hers is called. And, we reach the inboxes of 15,000 people each and every morning. Can we do a quick little feature on your business here? You can't lose. You cannot lose. Pretty powerful. And
And
she
and
owns it.
and
And she
if she's
owns it.
if she's turned away, like, do you think that's gonna impact her? You think that's gonna impact her day? Like, "Ah, no, we're not interested." Okay. You know,
Yeah.
you have the audacity to laugh now. It's just like, "Oh, okay. Sounds good. I'll just
Yeah.
go to the pizza place across the way."
And her newsletter really she's at the point now where she has so much power locally that is getting to the point where she doesn't need to sell these traditional marketing services anymore. Would you much rather sit behind your computer and work on SEO or a reputation marketing plan for some local business, or simply just put an article in your newsletter that's written by AI in 30 seconds and hit send and collect the cash? I would love, if you're watching right now, I would love to know which you would rather do.
It's profound. I think
Yeah.
the opportunity that all of us have, particularly in today's economy, in how more difficult it's becoming to connect with businesses traditionally. We have this huge, massive opportunity right now to stake our claim, to build assets where it's not such a grind. All right. Is it a grind? Okay. All right. So you spend 20, 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour actually putting your newsletter together. Um, taking a couple of weeks to build out the foundation for your audience, so that you have that opportunity, you have that privilege, you have that strength of recognition, authority, credibility, celebrity, recognition, trust, right? When you walk through the door, hey, this is Drew from Pottstown local news and events, or wherever you are in the world, right? Reading, Austin, Pittsburgh, whatever, right? You walk through that door, they're going to recognize you, right? There's a lot of power when it comes to something like that, right? And that's the beginning. That's the beginning of the relationship. And frankly, when you go to sell advertising and you sell, placements inside of your newsletter later on down the road, that becomes, uniquely powerful to you. And then being able to make that pivot later on if you want to, only if you want to. Like, what else is it that you guys can do? Do you want to sell SEO? Do you want to sell, website design development? Do you want to sell software and widgets and all kinds of things? You totally could, because now you are a trusted resource that delivers results, not conjecture, not, oh, it's going to maybe potentially whatever. No, it happens. And then you actually
Yep.
end up getting some more leeway, right? It's like, because you've already delivered the results in advance, they're like more adept to say, okay, let me listen to you. And all right, sure, it's going to take 3 weeks to build up my website. It's going to take 4 weeks. It's going to take 6 months for SEO side, if you want to even do that stuff anymore, right? David, how many, I can't tell you how many things that we were looking to offer that we no longer offer. It's just, it doesn't even make sense for us to do half of the things that we were even involved in anymore.
It's just an easier business model. And here, again, keep in mind, you're building something using your skills. So you're using the knowledge and set that you've worked on building to create something and grow something that you own and control. Now, Drew and I really do like working with the local businesses. We get off on it. We enjoy it. We enjoy the friendships, the relationships, the truly like helping them, right? So we can still do that, and we do still do that. We just do it in a much different way now. We do it via these tools and assets that we've built with our skill set and knowledge, but we own and control them, you know? Like, think about it as a local agency, what an advantage you have over anybody else in your local area who's basically probably doing the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
There's people, it's a commodity. All these services are just commodities. Anybody can do them. You can go to Fiverr, you can, it's everywhere. You know, like website design, PPC, it's all commodity now, you know, and little by little they're all going away. But think about having the ability to grow and own one of these assets and still be able to help local businesses get more visibility, more attention, but without all the other nonsense. The Facebook ads. So that's not nonsense. It is beneficial, but this is just so much easier.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. The sales process is easier. It's safer, meaning you own the thing. Once you obtain that subscriber list, obviously people unsubscribe sometimes. It's just part of the game. But once you own that subscriber list, you own it. Nobody can take that away from you. But if you get banned from Facebook and you can't run Facebook ads and you're doing it's a mean, you know, like there's a lot of danger involved there. But just the ability to use our skill set to build something that we own and control and can actually probably sell at some point. That's another point that we haven't made. What do you think your local agency is worth?
Yeah.
Not much. In most cases, when you're done, the agency's done. You put the key in the door, you close all the accounts for all the software that you have, and it's over with, right? But do you think Sherry at some point, when she's had enough and doesn't want to do it anymore, do you think her Knoxville, Tennessee local newsletter with has 15,000, probably go to 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers? Do you think someone might want to buy that? Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Consider what the value of each one of those subscribers are, right? I think the industry standard, they say to acquire a customer is or a subscriber is $3 per subscriber. So right now, based upon those statistics alone, Sherry's newsletter is worth $45,000. Just bare minimum. I can assure you, it's worth a heck of a lot more than that.
Absolutely. Well, Drew, I think that was a good start here. You know, we went off a little bit on a tangent, but we'll continue this. This was really to kind of start the conversation about like what is an asset-based agency. We kind of covered talking about how we started with the local community pages. We'll do this again soon, and we'll kind of expand upon, you know, how we kind of once we figured that part of it out, how we continued moving more in this direction. Some of the other types of assets we already kind of touched upon, newsletters just a tiny bit. Um, but hopefully you enjoyed this and kind of sparked some ideas and started to kind of give you that little bit of a mind shift. Start thinking about this stuff. Like what we're talking about with AI and how things are going to change is very, very real. It's not just us saying it, like it's happening already. And if you're really just locked down and only, you know, interested in some, you know, offering these traditional local or marketing services to businesses, it might be a good idea to kind of reconsider where you're at and think about your future and like how you want to proceed.
Yeah, good points. Well, thank you everyone for checking this out and watching. If you're catching this in replay, let us know that as well. If you happen to have questions about the program that we were talking about a little bit earlier, it's available inside the school group here. Just
It's
need to
free.
contribute. It's completely free for you to unlock. And with that said, enjoy the rest of the day, guys. We'll talk to you soon.